Welcome back to Kick My Asana Day 2. This one's going to be a quick and dirty yoga practice. So if you need to do something quick, you can come back to this guy. We're going to be working up a sweat really quickly. Know that it will be over soon, especially if you're someone who doesn't like to push past that point of discomfort. You got this, and I got you, and I'm the one having to talk and do the stuff. You will hear my labored breathing. So let's start standing at the top of the mat, feet together. Maybe you take them out about hip width distance apart. Turn your palms up towards the sky as you reach your fingers, and then take the fingers together, binding at the top, all but index finger and thumb. So you'll look like, kind of like Charlie's Angels guns. Big breath in. As you exhale, sliding over to the left, right hip presses out. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the right. So this is a bit of a moving meditation. Usually we open in stillness, come back up through a center and over to the left again with your exhale. Inhale, center. And last time over to the right. Center. Big breath in as the heart lifts and fingers trace back. We're not doing too deep of a back bend here. And then an exhale, chin comes forward and soft bend through the knees as you fold forward, head coming down. Halfway lift, strong flat back. Empty fold. Halfway lift. If you have a hard time getting a flat back, bring your elbows along side body, press your heart down and your shoulders squeezed into the spine. It's a nice flat back. And then fold. One more time, flat back. Empty. Palms down, stepping back, high plank. You can stay high plank, either knees up or knees down, or vinyasa. I'll do a vinyasa for this one. Inhale, rolling onto the tops of my toes. Exhale, bending the elbows, heart kisses my mat. Toes tucked or untucked. Heart lifts, gaze travels forward. And then rolling over the toes, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, right leg kicks up. And exhale, knee to chest. Back, heel up. Knee to chest. Heel up, breathe in. Empty, foot comes forward, knee comes down. From this low lunge position, drawing right knee over top of ankle. Lots of times we'll get a splay there. So knee stacked over ankle, lots of core engagement, right from the root of the perineum all the way up into the sternum. Shoulders are soft, fingers are flexed. Drive the hips forward, soften everything that's happening across the face. Left arm comes down inseam of left foot. Right hand reaches up for a twist. Keep the arm shape, but start to lift the left fingers away from the floor so that your sternum is facing the right and arms are at a warrior 2. Hands back through center, sternum comes forward. Don't move your left hip. Maybe you don't get the full range of motion here where your left fingers are reaching all the way behind you, but don't open your left hip to do it. Drop your arms and turn your sternum to the left. Warrior 2 arms. Come back through center. Exhale, hands down to your mat. Slide your hips back, straighten through front leg, toes come up and start to peel towards the shin. Heel is pressing down and pulling back. And this may not be where you're at today. You might have 2 blocks here, and that's okay. Some of you may be going for more by taking your hands to the outside of the leg or playing around with where you want your hands to be. It'll change your feeling in your leg anywhere you place your hands. Last 2 breaths. Bend through the knee. Walk your hands forward, framing the outside of your front foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Now you're in a runner's lunge. Strong belly, arms reach up overhead. Crescent lunge. Same stuff that we did on the ground. So arms are gonna go out warrior two arms as your rib cage or sternum turns towards the right. Back through center. Left hip doesn't budge. Turning sternum towards the left, arms open. Back through center. Pyramid pose, you might wanna step your back foot forward slightly, straighten through the front leg, either find blocks on either side of the front foot or hands down to the earth. Right hip is naturally gonna wanna splay out, you plug it in. So right hip is plugged in, left hip is sort of pressing forward. And then taking a bend through your right knee, walk your hands just in front of your right toes, and then lift the back leg for a standing split. This time we're coming into half moon from standing split. You wanna have a lot of core engagement as you do this, so pull up and in through the core, strengthen your right glute, and then maybe see about turning your left toes to the left wall. If that feels okay, right hand stays where it is, left hand finds left hip. And maybe the toes turn a little bit more as your right rib rolls under the left and sternum faces left wall. Stay here or left hand up towards the sky. If you want to do a bind on this side, you're welcome to take top side of your foot in your left hand, left heel to glute. If you have your bind, releasing back to half moon, falling out maybe. And then both hands come down to the earth, both feet step forward. From feet stepping forward, we're taking a deep bend through the knees. Belly lifts away from thighs, hands come forward, chair pose. Big breath in, and then fold forward. Halfway lift, strong flat back. Exhale, fold. 2 more of those. Last one. And fold forward heavy. Palms are down, stepping back for your vinyasa, or just simply meeting in downward facing dog. Left heel comes up, big breath in, knee to chest, breathe in, kick back, knee to chest, kick back, knee to heart, round the spine, and land your toes down, back knee comes down. Everything is about core engagement, strong belly, arms rise. And then turning towards the left, arms come out, warrior two. Back through center. Nothing changes with the right hip. Sternum turns towards the right, arms drop out, shoulder height. Back through center. Half split. Front leg straightens. I like to lift my foot and drop the heel just slightly forward so that I can really dig my heel down and pull my right hip into the socket. And then I flat back, reach my heart towards my toes. And this may not be anywhere close to where you are. You could have blocks. If your sensation is a tug at the back of the leg, general overall discomfort from the back of the leg, you and I are the same. We may not look the same, but we're having the same experience. Forward, I have to pull my heel back. Maybe I should have lifted it, probably. Hands framing front foot, back toes tuck, back knee lifts. Finding my crescent lunge from runner's lunge, heart lifts, hands rise. Everything about my lower body is firmed onto the bone. Left twist or left turn. So arms drop out, warrior two arms, sternum turning towards the left wall. Back through center. This is where things get hairy. Right hip's gonna wanna open. Turn open to the right. Back through center. And straight through front leg. If you have a good, like a strong pyramid, you can fold right over your front leg or cinch your back toes in slightly. Blocks really good here. Or if you don't have them, you can use your shin as support too, but don't lock your knee. Hands travel forward, just in front of left toes. Back leg lifts, standing split. If your right heel is well beyond your hip, you're gonna bring it back level with your hip. Left hand stays where it is, right hand finds your right hip. Maybe you start to roll up and over. Left glute is so strong here. Actually, both glutes are. And then maybe you take your full half moon shape. Maybe you take your bind. Binders find half moon. Both hands come down. Both feet step forward. Halfway lift, fill up. Empty fold. Breathing in, fill. And exhale, fold. Last one. Palms plant down, take a big step back. Find downward facing dog. If you want to slide in a vinyasa, you're more than welcome to. And we're going to end here today in a long pigeon. If long pigeon isn't for you, you can roll onto your back and take figure four like we did in day one. And that's just opposite ankle crossed over thigh. And maybe you thread the back of the thigh with your hands. Right leg comes up, heel high. And then right knee, right wrist. And I like to slide my heel across so that it takes a nice little position in my left hip. Lifted heart, lifted chest, glutes are engaged. So this is a bit of an activation first. So planting palms, chest is lifted. You're gonna hug your left heel in towards your glute, squeeze. Drop your foot down to your mat. Hug your heel towards your glute, squeeze. Foot to mat. Heel to glute. Hold, squeeze, 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 and relax. You can take elbows down to your mat, or if you do have, so pigeon's a bit tricky for the masses. Some of us have, all of us have different bodies. Some of us have a rotation that our shin bone can become parallel with the top side of the mat, which is the Ashtanga way of teaching pigeon. I'm Anasara lineage, Yangar based, so I like my heel in my hip crease. Feels best for me there, I get the best stretch, but not everyone is gonna feel good there. There is another variation called deer, which we will do at some point. You can let your head go really heavy here. Full body sinking, so you could relax your right glute. Maybe you want to even rock from side to side, Bringing in longer, slower breath, reconnecting to balance, harmony, full, steady breath. You can stay a bit longer if you'd like, or press up through the palms, tuck your back toes, lift your hips, and send your right leg back. We'll be pedaling out here for a few breaths, so if you stayed in pigeon, you don't have to rush. Left leg nice and high to the sky. Left knee, left wrist, and heel landing somewhere on the right side of the mat, untucking the toes. I really like to lengthen out my long leg, extending the toes back. Heart is lifted, heel kicks in, squeeze the hamstring, and then relax. Heel kicks in, squeeze, and relax. And if you get a Charlie horse here, this is your work. Squeeze, hold, squeeze, 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 and relax. And here's where you can drop into whatever depth you have in pigeon. If your left hip is sinking down to your mat, you'll want to take a block and level that out. So put a block underneath the hip so it's not dropping. Unless the dropped hip feels good for you, then keep it. I find myself always kind of gently rocking in pigeon. Such a beautiful reset for the body. Some discomfort enough so that you're aware your body exists. Because our body is in present time. And most of the time our mind is in the future or the past. And the more you can stay here with your body, tethered to your breath, you'll be more present throughout the day. You're building new programs inside your brain. And stay or join me coming up, palms pressed down, heart lifts. And then we'll sweep the right leg forward and rolling all the way onto your back. Keep the knees bent, soles of the feet connected to your mat, arms come out nice and wide to a T. We'll press down through the heels and lift your hips, placing them over to the right just slightly, and then let your knees fall to the left. If you notice that your right shoulder is lifting up, it's hard on the joint there. There's not a lot of structural support outside of tendon, ligament, and muscle. You want to maybe put something underneath your knees so that your shoulder can come back down to the earth. We also won't be here too long. I guess that'd be more for yin practice where you'd feel that. But good information just the same. I absolutely love twists. And if you're someone who struggles to fall asleep at night, put yourself in a few twists before you go to bed and just see what kind of magic entails, because it is like an instant nervous system rest, digest for me. Soft engagement through the core, bringing your knees back through center. So twists are actually where a lot of people get injured because we completely soften in them. So before you do any moving, think about core first and then moving the big body parts. Hips back through center, press down through the heels, and then lift them and place them over to the left and drop your knees to the right. So what we do when we're moving our hips is once we twist, your spine will stay in alignment. If you don't move the hips, it's kind of like you fold up into yourself like a little shrimp. And you'll notice my top knee is floating, But I'm able to completely relax my glute. There's not really anything that is causing tension there. I can stay soft, but if you're activated in a twist, you want to do the best you can to support yourself so that you can completely soften, and that might look like a block between the knees or underneath the lower leg. Any tension across the shoulders, exhaling into relaxation. Not traveling out of your body with distractions, words, thoughts, sounds, completely present here now. Gentle pull up from the genitals, top belly button to spine, knees travel to center, slow and steady. And then you can realign the hips and just gently drop the knees from side to side, maybe only 2 to 3 inches. And closing off your practice in Shavasana, so legs extend, chin tucked towards the sternum. Arms can be out still like you were in your twist, or pull them back into center. Whole body dropping, releasing, relaxing. Aware of every heartbeat. Each chosen breath, breathing life into your body. A symbol of the universe that you are so wanted here, so needed, so necessary. And I'm closing my practice there. You can stay. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.